Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about vitamins. Feels like it's been so long. I hope you guys are all doing well. I know that there's been a lot of people sending me emails and I'm getting back as soon as possible. So I hope everyone's doing well. Please reach out, never hesitate in case you need anything. All right, so as we continue to move forward and as I continue to do lectures, hopefully you're seeing a theme of me preparing you for what's to come on the test. A lot of this information will be really useful as well when you're doing your homework. So that's also a great reason to be tuning in and taking notes. So please let me know if you have any questions. Here we go. So we're going to be learning about different vitamins. Basically, I think the easiest way to distinguish the vitamins, we can go more nitty-gritty detailed later, but the way I like to think about them is fat-soluble vitamins and water-soluble vitamins. The distinguishing the like I guess what distinguishes the two categories is that one needs fat to absorb and utilize that vitamin, where the other, which is water soluble, it just needs water. Here's some learning objectives, identify guidelines. When purchasing dietary supplements, yes, that's towards the end. Prepare and present creative, healthy menu. We always try to get that in at the end of each chapter. And just going back to this, where do you think you're going to find all of these awesome vitamins? Fruits and vegetables, you guessed it. Yes, we're going to talk about supplements at the end, but more so, even better, if you can get it from your fruits and vegetables, that's ideal. So, what are vitamins? This is the nice lengthy definition, which you can check out summaries on the vitamins in your textbook pages 179 to 183. So, vitamins are non caloric. That means that they do not contain calories. Organic, just meaning naturally occurring. Also contain carbon for any of you sciencey people out there. Nutrients found in a wide variety of foods that are essential in small quantities to regulate body processes, maintain the growth and allow for maintain the body and allow for growth and reproduction. So there you go. Vitamins don't necessarily give you energy, which some people might say that they do. A lot of times, what vitamins are utilized for, particularly B vitamins, is their coenzyme. So it helps our enzymes do their job. And what do enzymes do? They break down our food in the body, making the food and the energy that the food provides readily available for our body. So in turn, yes, roundabout way, when you take vitamins or when you're eating nutritious food, you may feel more uplifted, more energetic because of that. So vitamins, most vitamins are obtained by eating foods. Some are made by intestinal bacteria, and some are even made in the skin with sunlight, which is really cool. So you can get them in a variety of ways. Vitamins are involved, as I said, in extracting energy from foods that are consumed. That is why sometimes when people take vitamins, or change their diet and incorporate more fruits and vegetables, more nutritious food, they feel like they have more energy. Or vegans, even. You might hear from vegans that they feel more energized, and that is typically due to an increase of fruits and vegetables in their diet. And fruits and vegetables, as we know, are rich in vitamins and minerals. So fresh fruits and veggies are rich in vitamins, but they lose vitamins as they lose their freshness. We're going to talk a little bit more about that as we talk about cooking methods for different foods and which are better for retaining nutrients. Whereas you absorb most of the carbohydrates you eat, vitamins are absorbed to varying degrees depending on bioavailability. We'll get into that later, but basically that means if your body has, for example, plenty of vitamin C, it's going to go ahead and eliminate that out of the body. If it absorbs what it needs and it gets rid of excess. So, for example, when you take Emergen-C when you're sick, I always recommend, because I believe it comes in 1,000 milligram package. If it's not 1,000 milligrams, then it's 500 milligrams. So I always tell people to space out that package for 2 to 4 times during the day. Over a series of bottled water, because your body can only absorb so much vitamins based on what it needs or what it's lacking. And so anything it doesn't need, it just flushes out. But if you space out that emergency vitamin C, and that's in the package, if you dilute it in water and you spread it out throughout the day, it's more likely that your body will absorb it. Because if you drink a 16-ounce bottle of water with all of the emergency dumped in it, your body can only absorb 250 milligrams at a time, and then it will flush the rest out. Just some fun facts for you. Sorry about that. Alrighty, so as I said, the way that I like to think about vitamins and is putting them into two different categories: fat soluble vitamins and water soluble vitamins. The reason why I do this is because there's a lot of different vitamins out there. So I'm for the intents and purposes of this class, we more so just talk about vitamins A, D, E, and K, which are fat soluble. So these tend to occur in foods that contain fat. Um, they are stored in the liver or fatty tissue until they are needed, and they are absorbed and transported around the body in the same way as fats. So, the cool thing about these is your body can utilize them when it needs and it can store it, and that's really cool. So fat soluble vitamins, that is really unique characteristic to them, whereas water soluble vitamins, the example I gave you with vitamin C, like I said, when your body doesn't need them, it's going to eliminate them. And the reason why fat soluble vitamins are different is because these vitamins can be absorbed and transported around the body in the same way as fats. Remember how we talked about LDL cholesterol? That's a type of fat. We talked about lipoproteins. That's a type of fat. So these vitamins can be stored in different places that contain fat. So then your body can utilize them when they need to. Versus water soluble vitamins, there's water going all throughout the body all the time, and like I said, your body only needs so much, and we're urinating throughout the day, so your body is going to get rid of anything in excess that it doesn't need right then and there. So that's the difference. That's how I like to think about water soluble and fat soluble vitamins. So here's a nice list of water soluble vitamins. The way that I remember it is A, D, E, and K are the only fat soluble vitamins. So everything else is water soluble. I believe that it's way easier to remember A, D, E, and K. ADEC, if that's easier for you, ADEC, fat soluble vitamins. Um, there you go. Then you know the rest are going to be water soluble. And don't be freaked out by these long words right here: thiamine, riboflavin, niacin. Those are B vitamins. So I know B6 and B12 are kind of the exception, but pantothenic acid and biotin are also B vitamins. So if that's easier for you to remember as well, then you can think about water soluble vitamins are B and C vitamins. There's folate as well in this category. So ADEC or B and C vitamins, whichever is easier for you. I think ADEC is easier because you only have to remember that ADEC. If you remember that acronym, that's one containing 4 letters. It's a lot easier than trying to memorize all the names of these. Okay, so the water soluble vitamins, as I said, include C and B complex vitamins. B vitamins work in every cell where they function as part of a coenzyme. Ding, ding, ding. This is something that's going to come up on your test, so I want you to remember this. The bullet point that I just read, and also a coenzyme combines with an enzyme to allow the enzyme to do its job. Remember, I had said earlier, what do enzymes do? They break down food in your body. So coenzyme can combine with an enzyme to help do its job. So that should help you. Like a partner. So that's how I remember. The body stores for varying periods of time. It can, but you do need to take it regularly. A lot of times people are deficient in B12. Some people are deficient in folate. So they are water soluble, like I said, so it's good to be eating a variety of fruits and vegetables so you're getting those vitamins in all the time. All right, so typically if Americans are not getting enough fruits and vegetables, then they also are not getting enough vitamins. So Americans tend to be deficient in vitamin A, D, E, folate, and iron. And then at the bottom, the question is which is the most serious deficiency? Vitamin D, because it's involved in a lot of processes, particularly bones, making sure our bones are strong. And since bones are all throughout the body, vitamin D is very important. Um, Vitamin D has also been associated with our mood, so that's really, if you're someone who's into that, that'd be a good thing to research. There is such a thing as a tolerable upper intake or toxicity. So if we have a vitamin in excess, then we run the risk of toxicity. So that's one of the reasons maybe why someone would hold off on taking a multivitamin, because multivitamins tend to be filled with fillers and binders and dyes and things that you don't need. You just want the vitamin, but a lot of time it comes with a lot of other things that your body doesn't need. But the other thing is they tend to be in something beyond 100%, and that's a risk for toxicity. And we're going to talk about supplements towards the end of the lecture, but if you have any questions, you can, regarding any supplements in general, or maybe a question about supplements that I didn't cover in this lecture, please feel free to email and ask me. All right, so I did highlight a couple of vitamins that I think are important. Your book also highlights them as well. So vitamin A is one of them. So as we said, this is one of those fat-soluble vitamins, and it's responsible for maintaining our eye health, and it prevents night blindness. That night blindness would only occur if you had a severe vitamin A deficiency. Typically in America, we have had we have had deficiencies in American history of vitamin A, but it's that was earlier on in our history. But now we don't tend to see deficiencies in vitamin A. More so, vitamin D and vitamin B12 are the ones that I personally have seen in practice as a dietitian, looking at labs with my working with my patients. And vitamin A also promotes healthy skin and the surface linings of the lungs and GI tract. I think it's always really fun when we include things like this, because a lot of times vitamins seem so minuscule and seem so not important to a lot of people, that they don't even realize how many little functions these vitamins are a part of and how necessary they are. So vitamin A supports reproduction, growth, and development, which is really important, especially for little ones who are constantly growing. The best source of vitamin A are going to be those that have carotenoids in them. So these pigments can be converted to vitamin A. So they appear typically in yellow, orange, reddish colors. So this is a great example of them. These are the carotenoids are also called beta carotene, so you'll see both. But yeah, and if you're eating vegetables and fruit that have these pigments in them, then you're going to be getting plenty of vitamin A. Some exceptions include spinach. Spinach also has vitamin A, and romaine lettuce. Okay, vitamin D is super duper important, and I want you to remember anything and everything pertaining to vitamin D for for the test. Sorry. Okay, so this is the only vitamin that is also functions as a hormone, which is really cool. It maintains normal blood levels of calcium. So remember, I was talking about strong bones, and phosphorus by enhancing their absorption into the body, where they help maintain bones. Likely helps build muscle as well. And one thing also I want you to remember is when ultraviolet rays shine on your skin, you make a precursor of vitamin D. So this is really important, and this is going to be on your test. So be sure, even during this time, social distancing, that we are getting plenty of vitamin D. You only need 15 minutes of sun every day. At least that's what experts recommend. If you're someone who has your blood work done and you have low vitamin D levels, it's okay to take a supplement at the discretion of your doctor. The recommendation is typically 1,000 to 3,000 units. International units. So 1,000 to 3,000 international units. Always check with your doctor and always check with your pharmacist in case you're taking any other medications, just to make sure there's no interactions between the drug and the supplement. and also to make sure that you're not, like I said, going into that toxic level. But typically the recommendation does sound like a lot, but this recommendation is because somebody is deficient. This isn't something that's recommended for someone who's not vitamin D deficient. And you can still go out for walks as well. After 3 months, it is recommended to get your lab work done again if you want to see if there's been any changes. 3 months, because 180 days or 3 months is the amount of time it takes for your blood to turn over. So for your blood work to pick up on any changes, you would need to allow 3 months from the time you did your blood work until the next time to see how you're doing now on your vitamin levels and any other blood work that you're interested in. So vitamin D, very few foods contain vitamin D naturally except for fatty fish. Woo, fatty fish. Also, if you're a milk drinker, it's fortified with vitamin D. Just for the intents and purposes of this class, a question that's going to come up on the test is, what's a good source of vitamin D? And the answer is going to be fortified milk. Now, I'm telling you this because I think that I mean, yeah, vitamin D, I guess it's the best food source. I'm a big proponent of us going outside and getting sunlight. I'm also a big proponent of fatty fish. So, whichever way that you want to get vitamin D is perfectly up to you. But the reason why milk fortified with vitamin D is a great source of vitamin D is because it's very hard to find food sources that are high in vitamin D. I know mushrooms, and fatty fish are typically higher in vitamin D, but even then, many of us don't eat a lot of mushrooms very frequently, so milk is kind of like easy if you're a milk drinker. So if you're not a milk drinker, you might want to look for something that is fortified with vitamin D, or get your blood work checked to see if you're low and maybe take a supplement. But if you're interested in more foods that have vitamin D, let me know and I will get that information out to you. I just kept it really simple for our lecture. Okay, so like I said, most of the time, most Americans are either deficient in vitamin D or B12. So why do we push vitamin D so hard and avoid deficiencies? Because especially in young children, it can cause something called rickets, which is the bowing of the legs, and in adults, it's called osteomalacia. And vitamin D deficiency can contribute to osteoporosis, which means that the bones break down and become weaker. And this is typically seen in older women. But if you're getting your blood work done on a yearly basis, which is the recommendation to go see your doctor once a year to get a physical checkup and your blood work done, then you can intercept that and catch that vitamin D deficiency early on. Especially for you young women, it is really important for you to lay down all of your bone formation, because once you hit the age of 25, if I'm not mistaken, that's it. You don't get to lay down any more bone, and that's due to our hormones. So if you're interested in reading up on that, there's plenty of academic articles on that. So vitamin E, this is one of those fat-soluble vitamins. It's found in vegetable oils, nuts, seeds, leafy greens, and whole grains. It's an antioxidant, as are all of the vitamins. So all antioxidants protect against free radicals, which can damage the cells. Remember how I was talking about phytochemicals and how phytochemicals are found in fruits and vegetables? Ding, 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 phytochemicals, antioxidants, same thing. And the phytochemicals are the, if you will, what's found in plant sources that provide protection against free radicals. And then the other term for that action is called antioxidants. So tomato, in my opinion. But we've got all these cool words. Start using them around your friends and family. You'll sound really smart. Okay, vitamin C. So we've been talking a lot about vitamin C. So I want you to remember, specifically for the test, I want you to remember that vitamin C good sources are citrus, because it starts with a C. That's the best way for me to remind you. Like, yes, these foods all on this picture have vitamin C, but citrus is a really great way to think about what foods contain vitamin C. So lemons, limes, grapefruit, oranges, these all contain vitamin C. So think vitamin C for citrus, and then you'll remember which foods have vitamin C. And I do want you to remember that on the test. Okay. So you may or may not know all these cool functions that vitamin C does. So it's important to form collagen. What is collagen? It's a protein substance that provides strength to bones, teeth, skin, and helps heal wounds. Collagen is like cement holding cells and tissues together. Collagen's pretty cool. Vitamin C can also help make hormones, stimulate the immune system. That's where when you typically hear people say, "Oh, if you're sick, time to like store up on vitamin C." Yes, you can boost your immunity during that time a little bit, but it's better to be getting a good dose of vitamin C ahead of time, which are preventative measures, which maybe might protect you from getting sick in the first place, but maybe it does help you with faster recovery. I'd have to read up on that, whether to say truly it does or doesn't. Okay, vitamin C again is an antioxidant, and because for most water soluble vitamins, this statement is true. Vitamin C content of food is reduced by prolonged storage and cooking because it is water soluble and can be destroyed by heat. So this is true of all water soluble vitamins. So it's better to utilize produce that's fresh and try not to cook them for long periods of time. So we're going to talk about a little bit about a couple of methods that can help with maintaining vitamins. But if you're a cook, which I hopefully if you're in this program you are, I'm a cook, there are some foods that you are going to be cooking the food for a prolonged period of time. So again, I go back to variety and moderation. So maybe at dinner you're cooking your foods, and then maybe at lunch or breakfast you're having fresh fruits and vegetables. I mean, that's the best way to vary it. I don't think it's good to say, just like never cook any fruits and vegetables ever, like eat everything raw. I mean, that's one way to go about it, and kudos to you if you can or you want to do that. But I'm also a foodie, so I also respect the different cooking methods and utilize a lot of them. So you can also, as a garnish at the very end of cooking a dish, depending on what it is, you can also add a garnish of fresh fruit or vegetable, or a squeeze of lemon, or a squeeze of some citrus. I mean, there's definitely different ways that you can get your vitamins and minerals in through, if you will, raw fruits and vegetables, like not cooking them. But there's also times where you will cook those fruits and vegetables, and it's because you want that texture, that mouthfeel, that taste, and that's okay. It's just that dish. So variety is good, moderation is good as well. Certain people need more vitamin C, such as smokers, pregnant and breastfeeding women, children, and anyone with a fever or infection. So a little extra vitamin C does help, but as I said, if you're going to take an emergency, space that out throughout the day, because your body can only absorb, if I remember correctly, 250 milligrams of vitamin C at a time. So it does you no good to consume 1,000 milligrams in one sitting, because you're just going to pee the rest out. All right, so here are some B vitamins. I'm not going to go over these in big detail. I just want to remind you of the slide. A few slides ago, I was talking about B vitamins being coenzymes, so I just really want you to remember that for the test. Whole and refined grains are good sources of these B vitamins, thiamine, riboflavin, and niacin. I love how it says whole and refined. So whole grains on their own, as we know, great source of vitamins, because if you think about it, it's a plant as well. Just like fruits and vegetables are plants, whole grains are plants as well. So whole grains on their own are a great source of B vitamins, but even refined grains make it onto the slide, because what happens, you guys just learned about it, they are enriched, right? So the refined grains were stripped of their original nutrients, but at the end of the process were enriched. Those vitamins that were lost are put back into the final product. So here are some, we talk a little bit about B6 and a little bit about B12. So B6, part of a coenzyme, yes, especially important to protein metabolism. Helps make non-essential amino acid, helps make hemoglobin in red blood cells, helps the nervous system and immune system, high in animal proteins. So one thing I really like about us talking about nutrition and breaking things down into its smaller components is, again, like I said, a lot of times people are thinking, oh, I know I need to eat healthy. And it's usually followed by a statement that has to do with aesthetics, like, I need to lose weight, or I need to build muscle, or all these different things. But again, I think I mentioned this in the first or second lecture. My approach as a dietitian to health is really thinking about your body and thinking about what does it need? What does it need for health? What does it need to be sustained? What does it need to protect you against disease? So I really like thinking about food in that way, especially as a cook. Just being more creative and having fun with food, I think, for me is more, for me personally, opens the door for wanting to eat healthy naturally. You save money when you're cooking from home. You get to play around with a lot of different ingredients. I don't know about you, but I like get really giddy when I get to go to the farmer's market, or once a week go check out the grocery store and just see the different specials that they have, or just check out. I know we don't all have time, I know a lot of us are busy, but if you're someone that really enjoys that as a cook, I think that, and especially if you're people who watch a lot of chef shows and documentaries and read books, which I do all of that, you see that that's very common in chefs. And it makes sense because we want the freshest, high quality ingredients because it completely changes the dish. The using the fresh, high quality ingredients, it really, the taste is different. It's better. So maybe if you're someone who's like, I'm not really about like that quote unquote healthy lifestyle, because maybe you're thinking about it in the cliche diet culture, mainstream media sort of way. Hopefully, I can open the doors and open your mind to thinking beyond that and thinking about for yourself, what do you need for yourself to sustain you. Good nutrition is also attributed to better mental health, better energy, better mood. And like I said, protecting you against certain diseases. So I think for me personally, that's more bang for my buck. I think that's more of a motivating reason to eat healthy. So, all right. Fully in vitamin B12. So for the test, I want you to remember. Okay, I'm gonna get to that in a couple of slides now that I think about it. Okay, one thing at a time. Both of them are coenzymes. Surprise, it shouldn't be, right? All B vitamins are coenzymes. Done. So vitamin B12 is also needed to maintain and protect cover. Is the protect maintain? Sorry guys. Vitamin B12 is needed to maintain the protective cover around each nerve fiber, so your nerves work properly. So that was the reason why I went on my whole little soapbox moment, was because of this. I think it's really cool to think about vitamins in this way of doing such an important job that we don't even think about. Our body naturally does it for us. And again, over here, helping with the nervous system, immune system, helps make hemoglobin in the red blood cells. I mean, just amazing things that our body is constantly doing with the food that we provide it. And that's why we want to make sure we're giving it proper nutrition so it has those vitamins to work with so it can do its job. So this is going to come up on the test. Pregnant women are at risk of folate deficiency, which may cause neural tube defects, which is a not fully formed brain or spine during the first few months of pregnancy. So anytime I work with pregnant women, I'm always making sure she's taking a prenatal vitamin. Those prenatal supplements they contain folate. So this is just to ensure that the woman is getting enough folate to prevent spina bifida is the word for neural tube defects. That's the condition we see associated with that. So for the test, I do want you to remember that pregnant women are at risk of folate deficiency. So just being sure to remember that. So just to check in, because hopefully I made this clear, but which vitamins are stored in the body? Fat-soluble vitamins. Remember, because I said we have fat cells and different functions of fat in the body. And I had given you the example of low density lipoproteins and phospholipids. So just remember that vitamins that are stored in the body are any of the fat soluble vitamins, and which ones are the fat-soluble vitamins, ADEC, vitamins A, D, E, and K. So I do remember that for the test. I just felt the need to remind you. So B12, for the test, I want you to remember this first bullet point, found only in animal foods. So this could be a problem for vegans. So I want you to remember that first bullet point specifically for the next test, test number 2. Everything that we're going over in this chapter will not appear on test 1, it will appear on test 2. So again, I want you to remember that vitamin B12 is found in animal foods, and that vegans are at risk for becoming deficient in vitamin B12. And I also, as we go through, I just want to reiterate for the test as well, fruits and vegetables are great. I know I say this over and over, and you probably already know, but fruits and vegetables are great. We should get a lot of them because they help prevent diseases such as heart disease, diabetes, cancer. They provide lots of vitamins and minerals, and they are low in calories. So win-win and a win. Eating lots of fruits and vegetables. And I do want you to remember that little tip for test number 2 as well. So we recommend, I'm sorry, I'll finish this slide here. Vitamin B12 is harder to absorb for the elderly, so they may need to eat foods that are fortified with B12 or take a supplement. And then vitamin B12 affects the nervous system. Vegans will need to eat foods that are fortified with vitamin B12, such as soy milk, cold cereals, tofu, meat, and meat substitutes. There's also nutritional yeast, also has B12 as well. Nutritional yeast is different than yeast we use to bake bread. That's a different kind of yeast. So we're going to talk a little bit about dietary supplements. So the FDA does not approve dietary supplements for safety or effectiveness before they are sold. What that means is supplements are being put on the shelf, and it is the job for the FDA to go through and say whether these supplements are legitimate or not. But they don't have supplements do not have to go through the FDA first to get on the shelves to get into the market. So supplements can be on the shelves in the market and be not good, not be effective, or not contain everything that it says it's supposed to contain before the FDA even catches it. It is, once it is on the market, then it is the FDA's job to look at the effectiveness and the safety of it, but not beforehand. We should really get that fixed. Should be the other way around. Claims that taking a supplement will provide certain health benefits have always been a controversial feature of dietary supplements, so definitely don't read something on the package and be 100% sold just yet. We really should be checking for the safety and efficacy of these supplements. Manufacturers often rely on these claims to sell their products. Dietary supplements are not replacements for conventional diets. Nutritionists and dietitians, there's a difference. I am a dietitian. I am also a nutritionist, but I am a dietitian first. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist, RDN. So when they say nutritionist here, it can mean anybody. It can mean somebody who got an 8-week course online and certificate, but that's not me. I went through extensive training, got my bachelor's degree in nutrition science, then went through an internship, had to take a culminating exam of over 150 questions, and had to go through an internship which was an experiential internship wherein I was trained in food service nutrition, community nutrition, and clinical nutrition. So this is way different. Just in case, I just wanted to make that distinction. So nutritionists and dietitians recommend food first because foods provide a variety of vitamins and minerals, and also dietary factors that are not found in a vitamin or mineral supplement, such as phytochemicals and fiber. We're not going to get phytochemicals from the vitamins. We're only going to get phytochemicals from the fruits and vegetables. And fruits and vegetables have fiber. So this is just a little slide that goes over a supplement label. So this is really handy for you, for anyone who's interested in taking a supplement. Again, I would recommend going through your doctor and or a pharmacist before starting any supplement. If you're interested in a multivitamin, I do recommend the multivitamin that is sold at I think it's the Whole Foods brand, and the reason why is because it doesn't have any unnecessary fillers or binders or dyes. So it is just the vitamins. Although I'd have to look and see. Give me 1 second. Let me look at it and see about if I was. Remember how I was saying how some vitamins are at 100%, whereas others exceed that? Let me double check this before I finish my recommendation. Okay, so the multivitamin that I'm talking about is found at Whole Foods. Now you can go to other places and find a multivitamin there. The reason why I say this one is because this brand 365 is a Whole Foods brand. It is their brand 365. It's the adult multivitamin with iron. You take it once daily. There's 180 tablets, so you're getting 180 tablets. If you only take one a day, which is all you should be taking, then that's going to last you 3 months. And remember how I was telling you if you were deficient in a vitamin that 3 months is the blood turnover rate to find out if you're still deficient or not. So this is great. So you take one tablet daily with food, and everything in this multivitamin is at 100%. There's only one thing that's at 200%, which is molybdenum. Never heard of that. So I couldn't tell you what that particular mineral is. It's not a vitamin, it's a mineral there. Calcium is low, so if you're someone who is low in calcium, this would not be a multivitamin for you. It's only at 16%. So this is the percentage is based on daily value. So if you're looking at this slide, you're going to see daily value. There's supplement facts, then below that serving size, and then servings per container. Right underneath is the percent daily value. So if you're someone who's low in let's say vitamin D, then you're going to want your supplement to be 100% vitamin D. So then you know that you're getting that every day. So yep. So I was just letting you guys know that, so that way, in case you were interested in a multivitamin, it doesn't hurt, but it's better to get our nutrients from fruits and vegetables, so that we're getting the vitamins and minerals we need, the phytochemicals, and the fiber, and all the protective features that come from those phytochemicals. But we have to work with what we have, right? And maybe some of you are living at home or living with somebody who is the main provider, so maybe a multivitamin might be better if you're not in charge of grocery shopping, just so you know that you're getting the nutrients that you need every day. All right. So if you have any questions on this slide, feel free to ask, but I kind of almost want to put a picture of this supplement up, so then we can go through that maybe better together. This is a cool example, but seeing the real deal might have been better. If we were having this class in person, of course I would have brought my supplements with me so then you can see. So, darn. Let me know if you have questions though. Here are some tips for picking a supplement. Look for the USP verified on the label or NSF seal. So I'm not seeing that on this little example, so that's important. I'm looking for that on mine as well. Struggling to find it here. I might have to look a little harder because I'm not seeing it. I want to get back to this. And the reason for this tip too is to make sure you're not just taking some off the wall supplement. So when I talk about supplements, I am only talking about vitamins and minerals that you need. I am not talking about supposed supplement that might increase testosterone naturally. By the way, I did my research on that in my senior year of my college degree, and there has not been any testosterone boosters on the market that have been proven effective at naturally increasing testosterone. Just saying. The one that I need to research most recently is ashwagandha, I think is the name of it. I'm gonna look into that one, but I'm pretty sure in my research I saw that one, but somebody challenged me lately, so I gotta go figure that out. But yeah, you can't believe all the hype. You can't always believe what the package says on the front. Avoid substances that are not known nutrients. Buy a multivitamin or multi mineral that supplies 100% of the RDA or AI. So we talk about that, I believe, in chapter 1 or 2, what those means. The recommended dietary allowance, and then the adequate intake. Taking vitamins and minerals in excess of the RDA can be harmful, such as vitamins A and D. We talked about toxicity. Buy from a nationally known manufacturer. So, for example, the supplement that I was talking about, that's from Whole Foods. The brand 365 is of Whole Foods. It's a known manufacturer. And like I said, consult your pharmacist consult your physician and ask a pharmacist about possible interactions. Just because a supplement is quote unquote natural does not mean that it is safe. Avoid products that claim to work like prescription drugs, advertise through mass emails, market in other language, promise weight loss, bodybuilding, or enhanced sexual performance. Yes, yes, and yes. Some people need supplements such as during pregnancy, and that's particularly to make sure that they're getting folate. All right, so we just talked a little bit about fruits and vegetables. Since we've been talking about vitamins, it's cool to bring these in. So 3 reasons to eat more fruits and vegetables. You guys already know this, but I'm going to go over it again because it's definitely going to be on the test. So put a star, write this down, whatever you need to do to remember. Most fruits and vegetables are major contributors of a number of nutrients that are underconsumed, such as vitamins A and C, folate, and dietary fiber, etc. Consuming them is associated with reduced risk of heart disease and stroke, and most fruits and vegetables, when prepared without added fats or sugars, are relatively low in calories. Tips to get healthy variety of fruits and vegetables. Think about the color. Like I said, eat the rainbow. You want a variety, lots of color. Store fruits and vegetables properly and use at optimum time for freshness, color, flavor, and nutrition. We could talk about avocados and looking out for the freshness of those. Man, the ripeness, I should say. It's tough. I try. I'm still not perfect. I look for the little nub to like pop all the way out. That for me is usually it, but I also press on it and see if it's more squishy or firm. So it's a hit or miss, but that for the most part has worked for me. Color, flavor, and nutrition. I also like to buy fruits and vegetables in season. If you're buying them in season, it's more likely that they're going to be fresh. The brighter the color typically indicates more phytochemicals, but although that's not always the case, it's general rule of thumb. You can keep most fruits and vegetables cold. Tip, maybe don't refrigerate bananas, whole citrus. I do. I refrigerate oranges and grapefruit and lemons and limes. I do, but you can leave them out. So if your fridge is getting too full, then you can leave them out. Hard rind squash, eggplant, potatoes, sweet potatoes, onions, also avocados, melons, stone fruits, pears, and tomatoes ripen best at room temperature. And stone fruits, an example would be cherries. So this is just something little fun that your book includes of a walk-in refrigerator. You want to separate the ethylene producers and the ethylene sensitive produce. What that means is the produce that produces ethylene will affect the ripeness of the ethylene sensitive produce, so you might want to keep them separated. I do not know of any chef or cook that separates them this way. Maybe this is like a food scientist approach. I have never done this, although I don't doubt that this is probably the better way to go about it. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. Just some tips to consider cooking methods such as blanching, stewing, roasting, steaming, grilling, sauteing, baking, broiling, or braising. Notice how it said a bunch of different cooking methods that are not frying. So just getting creative. When cooking, monitor texture and flavor. change. Keep cover off the pot of vegetables such as cabbage, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. Do not overcook. Cook until tender but crisp. And then prepare small amounts at a time. Avoid peeling when possible. So it just depends. So, like, for example, avoid peeling when possible. Like, when I make mashed potatoes, I scrub my potatoes pretty good, but I leave the skin on, and that's because for me personally, I want fiber. Or when I'm making french fries, I leave the skin on. That's just me. That doesn't mean that has to be you. Some people prefer to peel, but if you leave the peel on for those fruits or vegetables that you can leave the peel on, then you're going to get some extra fiber. Fruits go great in salads, of course. Roasted fruits with shallots are a wonderful base in which to place proteins. Yes, anybody up in here loves shallots? I do. um, so this is just a couple of examples of things that you can do. Just creative, trying to be creative. But like I had said, if you're somebody who's starting out cooking, or maybe you're doing great at cooking, I recommend going on YouTube and checking out different cooking techniques, different cooks, different chefs, and what they put out. I tend to go with Tasty is one of my favorite YouTube channels. I really, really like them. I also check out Jamie Oliver. I love Gordon Ramsay. Judge me if you want. I do. I think he's a great teacher. I want to take his master class so bad. But yeah, anyways, fruits are natural for dessert, of course, and berries. I just want you to remember for the test, just because shout out to berries. I love berries. Berries provide vibrant colors, particularly in sauces and purees, so that's a great way of utilizing them. I love them as toppings. I just love them all in general. So, one thing that I didn't really touch on, but I want you to remember for the test, is steaming is the best way to retain the nutrients of your fruits and vegetables, but mainly I'm talking about vegetables. So, steaming for sure. The other one you can do is actually surprisingly microwave. I guess the short amount of time that it's heated up, that the produce retains a lot of its nutrients, surprisingly. Some of us are not down with microwaving. That's cool. Power to you. Steam your vegetables. But for anyone who is maybe like on a budget, or is like me where I'm constantly busy, I always keep fresh produce on hand. Sorry, fresh and frozen and canned produce on hand. But what I was gonna say is frozen produce, because for me personally, when I'm making a dish, I almost always kind of forget that the star of my dish should really be the veggies, and so it's kind of like, oh shoot, I forgot. I'm looking down at my plate and it's not colorful, so I just throw some veggies in the freezer. Or sorry, I grab some veggies from the freezer and throw them in the microwave really quick. Typically, it only takes like 2 or 3 minutes to microwave, and then by that time, it's right on point with the food that I'm cooking. Although, if you're like me, who is a foodie, that's not as flavorful. Yeah, you can add a little bit of salt and pepper, but if you incorporate the vegetables ahead of time into the dish that you're planning to make, those are going to have a better all flavor and mouthfeel than the frozen. But if you're someone who also is like me and you're on the go, and but you also want to get your nutritious food in and you want to eat healthy, then sometimes you do just add those those veggies frozen into the microwave onto the plate so that you're getting those nutrients that you need. Do what you got to do, right? But you can these last slides are just to say you don't have to do something that's quote unquote boring or traditional. You can think outside the box and have more fun. So vegetables allowed you to serve what looks like a big portion with reduced calories and no fat or cholesterol. Yes, that is definitely a move that I make when I have guests over and I cook for them. I make sure that there are a lot of vegetables, so then everything looks a little bit bigger, and they are going to be more full because vegetables have fiber, so they will feel full. Or when I'm eating tacos and I'm trying to stretch the meat, I'll add beans and I'll add vegetables, so I'm still full and I'm stretching the meat, making it last longer. I don't have to use as much meat in tacos. So when I make them for myself or for guests, I tend to do that. When using vegetables, be mindful of the season for maximum flavor, visual appeal, and value. Also think about variety. Fermented fruits and vegetables are a great addition, flavor profile as well. Olives. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of olives, but get your olives on. My husband really likes Kalamata olives. I'm just not a fan, but do you? um, so last but not least, fermented fruits and vegetables. Um, so maybe you're someone who has done this before on your own. I haven't, but there are some benefits to fermentation. Intensifies flavor, easier to digest, increases vitamin levels surprisingly. You can keep your produce fresh longer, and it's healthy for the intestines because you're getting probiotics in that way. On this last slide, I just included, if you have Netflix, I love Chef's Table, and one of the episodes I really like is it takes place in France. So if you're into that, or if you have Netflix, cool, check it out. Love to chat with you because I totally nerd out on that. Thanks for tuning in today, and I look forward to seeing you at the next lecture.